Good evening. It's Wednesday, July 1st, 5:45 p.m. We are on the verge of watching we're going to go here to a World Cup watch party for the U.S. soccer game tonight. World Cup has been great. I watched last night. I met Gabe Gringo from our group for dinner, and we meet halfway in this small town. This is the third year we've done it. He's near the South Bend area with his family for 2 weeks during the summer. And I'm obviously down here in Indianapolis. So we meet halfway in this small town. We found a restaurant, and there's a guy that grilled steaks, Jake, the steak guy. And this has been our meeting place. We had a great time last night. It was great catching up with you, Gringo. Appreciated it. We discussed a lot of things. And, the takeaway, the couple takeaways from that would be one, we think Peabody is going quite a bit higher. That's a concrete takeaway. Two, I suspect there's going to be choppiness and grinding volatility that further pushes people out of their positions. On the way back, driving back, I listened to the Mexico game, the World Cup game, the atmosphere. I watched the highlights this morning. It was terrific. I'm so excited for the U.S. game tonight. Our family is as well, and I've enjoyed the games very much. I've enjoyed the different international crowds, the patriotism, seeing the Norway guys row, seeing just people from different countries. I think the Netherlands had 100,000 fans in Monterrey, Mexico, and it's been a delight. I'm hopeful that the U.S. team will make it through tonight and then play in Seattle again, because I thought the atmosphere in Seattle was just terrific. After the dinner with Gringo last night, I had lunch with a friend today, Phil Scheidler. Phil and I have been friends for a long time. We talk markets. One of the things there we talked about was UPS. Phil said that I had talked to him about buying it as a dividend play. He was waiting till it got to an 8% yield. He said it was just 7.9, and he missed it. And I think that happens oftentimes in the market. You're waiting for a target, you miss the price. Phil and I have known each other for, it seems like 20 years now. I have to see exactly how long. Between those two meetings, I feel so good. And I wanted to record that tonight because I know that as we go, part of the value of being in the group is as we go through good times, we celebrate those. When they're more difficult, you want to band together and search out the opportunity. Part of that is vocalizing things, talking through stuff. So I know we have almost little subchapters, group subchapters that do that. You may not have that. You may just have a friend or two. It's financial things, monetary things are hard to talk about, especially when it doesn't go well. It's good to do it though, because you always feel better, and especially if you get a history with somebody of going through ups and downs, it helps you carry the day. So I want to say thank you to my two friends there, Gabe and Phil, because I feel a lot better, and I'm always, a lot of people say I keep an even keel. I do. I've been through some tremendous ups and downs through the years, and they value that in our group, not getting too excited, not getting too depressed. That's keeping emotion out of it is very important as an investor. It's easier said than done to do because of the volatility of the markets. They pull you emotionally, and there's price action that frequently goes beyond what your expectations are. And then it's natural to have an emotional reaction to that. So that's common. It happens both ways, on the upside and the downside. And it's important to stay even keeled and do things that take you away from the markets. And I mentioned when we were going into the Iran war here, I had written an article, and it referenced avoiding the news. And that's one of those things that's easier to do, or it's easier said than it is to do, especially these days when news is so prevalent. A couple other things I want to talk about. I'm going to lead with a quote before I get into some of the market stuff, and it kind of goes along with what we're talking about. I saw this morning. Never regret a day in your life. This is from Professor Richard Feynman. I've used this before in one of my opening quotes. He then goes on to say, good days give happiness, bad days give experiences, worst days give lessons, and best days give memories. So never regret a day in your life. That's valuable life advice. It fits in line with keeping an even keel. And then right below that, I had another quote. This is from Charlie Munger that I was going to use in my next article. It said, a lot of smart people think they're smarter than they are, and they actually do worse than dumb people. It's common to be utterly brilliant and think you're more smarter. Warren and I have been good at avoiding this mistake. So it goes in line with Warren's thoughts, Warren Buffett's and Charlie's of sometimes you can overthink your positioning in the stock market. On that note, the stock market has been very volatile. Alex News had said that he asked me a question about it. He said, is it just end of quarter positioning? Because we ran up yesterday. We pretty much gave all the gains back today in the NASDAQ. I haven't paid as much attention to the market today. I did see Meta was up a lot, and Meta is selling AI compute capacity. And so that's also what SpaceX is doing now, XAI, selling compute capacity to Google and Anthropic. Amazon's doing that. So it's interesting that these guys that were building out the LLM models, particularly XAI and Meta, which was going a different approach, they were using more open source. It looks like they've built too much capacity with the way that they're employing the combination of open source and LLM models, or the prices are high enough that they want to monetize it. And it's interesting. Meta stock reacted up a lot. Some of the semiconductor names were down quite a bit today. AMD, there's a couple of us in the group that we've sold calls first at 550 here for July, and then yesterday at 600. And that looks opportunistic now with the benefit of a nice decline day today. However, you are getting a lot of volatility day to day. I do think there was an element of end of quarter, window dressing. Also, with the NASDAQ, we had come down to the 50-day moving average late last week, and then we bounced off of it, had a nice 2-day bounce, and now you get some retracement. So this just continues. It's about 16 days of pricey choppy price action, and it's making it hard to position. So if you thought the NASDAQ was going to roll over and you bought puts, you're giving up, that choppiness is time decaying your puts. And similarly, a lot of people have gotten bullish on energy stocks because the positioning, or they're hoping for a bounce after, buying calls in April, May, and June. Those didn't work, so people have piled into the July calls. I would expect that the equity markets, and Gabe and I have talked about this before, equity markets kind of V-bottom because of the emotion. Commodity markets typically have a choppier bottom, and then the opposite occurs. The equity market top is often a choppy top. Topping is a process, and commodity tops, like we saw with precious metals, gold and silver in January 30th, it's an emotional top, and Arizona Prospector mentioned in chat. I haven't got to chat yet. I saw some of the messages. He said, in paraphrasing, but he said, isn't it probably a better time on the precious metal side? And I think it is. They've gone down because the dollar's rallied pretty strongly. Aaron Turbo had said what would cause the dollar to decline. And I think, if the tech sector rolled over and money that was coming into the U.S. to invest in the tech sector, if money was then going out, that could cause the dollar to decline. And to Arizona Prospector, I would say, yes, I think that a lot of the positive buoyant sentiment has been washed out of the precious metal sector. So I think you can start rebuilding positions there or adding to those names if you've had taken out any money off the table at the top. So that's my brief podcast. I am trying to get back into a rhythm. I don't know when I'm going to post this, probably later tonight because we're going to head to a watch party for the U.S. game. However, I wanted to keep the rhythm going and get something posted. So appreciate you guys. Looking forward to a long holiday weekend here, a patriotic 4th of July weekend. And hopefully the U.S. will win tonight. I'm looking forward to more good World Cup action. I didn't watch it today. I saw England won. That's it.